I still remember the day I stopped calling her mom. It wasn't a fight or a single cruel word. It was the silence after she handed him the house keys, the same house my father built with his bare hands, brick by brick. That silence told me everything. I was 17 when my father died. He was a quiet man, proud and honest to the bone. He worked 2 jobs just to keep that roof over our heads. The house was his dream, his promise, our future. But all it took was one man to destroy him. His name was Richard Hale. Richard was my father's business partner, charming, polished, and poisonous. He convinced Dad to invest everything into a new venture. My father trusted him completely. I remember how Dad would come home with tired eyes but a hopeful smile. "It's finally happening, Daniel," he'd say. "Our life's about to change." It did change, but not the way he hoped. Richard drained the company funds, forged signatures, and left my father bankrupt. When the police got involved, all the proof pointed to Dad. Richard made sure of that. He ruined my father's name, our family's reputation, everything. And one rainy night, my father sat in his truck and never came back. The police called it suicide. I called it murder without blood. After the funeral, I thought Mom and I would hold on to each other. I thought pain would unite us. Instead, it divided us. She became distant, cold, as if my father's death had burned the warmth out of her. She stopped cooking his favorite meals. She took down his photos. And then, one evening, she said something that froze me. "It's time to move on, Daniel. We can't live in his shadow forever." But I noticed how she started dressing differently. New perfume, late-night phone calls. I didn't want to believe it, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. Until one afternoon, I came home from college and saw him. Richard, sitting in our living room, his legs crossed. Holding a cup of tea, my mother's tea, he smiled at me as if we were old friends. "Daniel," he said, "you've grown up." My throat tightened. "What the hell are you doing here?" Mom stepped between us. "Don't talk to him like that," she said sharply. "He's helping us." "Helping?" I laughed bitterly. "He killed Dad." She slapped me. That was the first and last time she ever hit me. Later that night, I overheard them talking in the kitchen. Her voice trembled, his was calm. Then I heard him say, "Once the papers are signed, everything will be settled." The next morning, the truth unfolded. She had sold the house to him. The same man who took my father's life now owned his dream, and she made it happen. When she handed him the deed, I watched from the window. Her eyes looked guilty, but her lips formed a faint smile. Maybe it was relief, maybe greed, maybe love. That's when something inside me broke quietly, not with rage, but with realization.
I left that night without saying goodbye. No shouting, no confrontation, just silence. Because revenge doesn't start with anger. It starts when you stop explaining your pain. For the next 4 years, I disappeared. I studied finance, the same world Richard used to destroy us. I learned his language, his tricks, his greed. Every sleepless night became a weapon. Every tear, a lesson. I stopped being the broken son. I became the quiet storm. And when I came back, they had no idea what I had become. 4 years later, I stood before the same house, now owned by the man who destroyed my father. The walls were painted new, the garden trimmed, but to me, it still smelled of betrayal. I had changed. No longer the broken son, I had become calm, educated, and dangerous in silence. I learned everything about the world Richard ruled: finance, deception, control. And quietly, I stepped into his world, not as an enemy, but as one of his own. Using another name, I joined one of his firms. Every file, every transaction, every lie, I studied them all. Slowly, I built the trap my father never could. I leaked his hidden accounts, his forged deals, the bribes he thought no one knew about. I didn't attack, I waited. Months later, his empire began to collapse like wet paper. The same media that once praised him now called him a fraud. His name, once golden, became poison overnight. And when it all fell apart, I sent him a message. "You took my father's life. Now I've taken yours piece by piece." Then came the call from Mother. Her voice trembled. "He's ruined, Daniel. They're seizing everything." When I met her, she looked lost. Like she finally understood what loyalty costs when sold cheap. I handed her a file of the house deed. "It's back under our name," I said quietly. I bought it. With his money, tears filled her eyes. "Why, Daniel?" "Because Dad asked me to protect it," I whispered, and I did. As I left, rain began to fall. Soft, endless, cleansing. I didn't need anger. My silence had spoken louder than screams. Revenge wasn't about hurting them. It was about rebuilding what they thought they destroyed and walking away stronger.